Hey guys, I want to get into something tonight about the tattoos that the surviving roommates got that says MKXE. Why did they get the tattoos that said MKXE? The precise names on the murder counts, because you have count 1, which is the burglary. You have count 2, which is the death of Maddie. You have count 3, which is the death of Kaylee. You have count 4, which is the death of Xander. You have count 5, which is the death of Ethan.
Is that better, guys? Okay, what I want to get into tonight is why did the surviving roommates get those tattoos so close to the time of the murders? They got them 2 weeks after the murders. Let's get into this video real quick, and then we'll break it down.
Roommates Dylan Mortensen just posted a haunting tribute to her slain friends. It's a tattoo of their initials with angels' wings. She posted, Maddie, Kaylee, Zana, Ethan, MKXE, love you always and forever. It's believed the matching tattoo is on the arm of the other surviving roommate, Bethany Funk.
So I need to show you guys something about these tattoos that the roommates got in honor of the victims. And I did not make this discovery myself. So I want to make sure I give credit to Kelly from the channel What's the Obsession. That's where I found this information from. And I just want to give her credit because this is awesome, original content. So go check out her channel. I'll link the video in the description. And what Kelly pointed out is that the order of the charges in the criminal complaint are the order in which the crimes occurred. So count 1 is for the felony burglary. Count 2 is for murder in the first degree of Madison Mogan. Count 3, the murder of Kaylee Goncalves. Count 4, the murder of Xana Kernodle. And count 5 is the murder of Ethan Chapin.
Hey, Micah. Hey, how you doing tonight, Micah?
MKXE, and what do you know? That's the same order as the roommates' tattoos. And they got these tattoos in November before any of this information was released. So what are the odds that they got that order correct? It's actually 1 in 24. So there are 24 possible combinations of 4 letters that could possibly have been rendered. And so they had a 1 in 24 shot in getting this correct. And
you heard that, guys. They had a 1 in 24 shot of getting the letters correct. What do the roommates know?
Voila, they nailed it per the criminal complaint. So let me know what you think about that. I think that's kind of suspicious, if not a major coincidence. But we'll get more into my opinion into this whole tattoo thing in a little bit.
The two roommates who survived the off-campus murders at the University of Idaho are speaking out for the first time. A pastor read letters from them at a memorial service for their 4 classmates.
You ready to come up, Sophie?
Stabbed to death last month.
I'm going to be reading 2 different letters, one from Dylan and one from Bethany.
From Dylan Mortensen,
My life was greatly impacted to have known these four beautiful people. To Xana and Ethan, the two best friends but perfect pair together.
There you go, Sophie.
They had this unstoppable, loving relationship.
And Bethany Funk.
Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were truly all one of a kind. They all lit up any room they walked into and were gifts to this world. I know somewhere Xana and Ethan are together, keeping each other company, watching us and telling us it's okay and that we have each other. Maddie and Kaylee, the inseparable duo. The two best friends that were like sisters. Maddie and Kaylee were like second moms to me. They taught me a lot on how to be a responsible adult, but also how to live life happy.
So these tribute tattoos are it's just this minimalist angel wings tattoo on the back of her elbow. And I couldn't find any sort of social media post that.
Now, you guys heard Dylan in that letter. My life, my happiness, my this, my that. Is she self-centered or what? What do you think, Sophie?
I don't know what.
Dylan self?
I just turned this on, and I was looking at the tattoos. What letter are we talking about? Was this?
Okay.
Remind me.
Just a little bit, so you can hear what Dylan says.
Cool. Thank you.
Letter.
And Bethany Funk.
Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were truly all one of a kind. They all lit up any room they walked into and were gifts to this world. I know somewhere Xana and Ethan are together, keeping each other company, watching us and telling us it's okay and that we have each other. Maddie and Kaylee, the inseparable duo. The two best friends that were like sisters. Maddie and Kaylee were like second moms to me. They taught me a lot on how to be a responsible adult, but also how to live life happy.
So these tribute tattoos are, I'm assuming, in reference to.
Kind of creepy being considering them second moms.
I don't know. I don't know. Some people have lousy parents, you know, and then some people like take them in like as a better parent. I think it happens a lot. I don't think it's weird. You think it's weird because you're an awesome dad and you had a big Barbie party today.
Yeah, a big Barbie party was a big bouncy house that cost me like $130, and
Ooh, is that good? I don't know. I don't know bouncy house prices.
Yeah, it was huge. It fit like 8 screaming kids today. I quite literally wanted to pull my hair out by the time they left.
Do you have any hair left?
A tattoo that.
Yeah, some.
Maddie has in the same exact spot. It's just this minimalist angel wings tattoo on the back of her elbow. And I couldn't find any sort of social media post that explained why she got it or, anything like that. But if I had to guess what this tattoo means, not that every tattoo has to have meaning. I have plenty, and few of them have meaning, but I have to assume there has to be some sort of connection to the sorority, because if you Google Pi Beta Phi, there's a lot of angel symbolism, right? They call themselves angels. I looked it up. It's not the official symbol or like logo of the sorority, but it's mentioned on their website as like something that is traditionally associated with Pi Beta Phi. And in
How do you take 20,000 children in the middle of New York City without anybody seeing?
And in the pictures, there's a lot of angels references when in these sorority pictures, there's a lot of references to this specific symbolism. And that would make sense also why Dylan and Bethany got the same tattoo, because they are also Pi Phis. So Dylan makes the post about the tattoos on November 24th, which is 11 days or a week and a half after the murders.
Isn't that odd?
I don't want to sound like a hater.
Well,
and some of you may think I'm being over. Really critical, that's fine.
Why get the tattoo 11 days after the murder? And get it in the precise order of the found.
How do we know that's the precise order?
Because
maybe that's the order they found them. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, in the indictment, it has the felony burglary as indictment 1. Murder in the first degree of Madison Mogan, number 2. Murder in the first degree of Kaylee Goncalves, number 3. Murder in the first degree of Xander Kernodle, number 4. And Ethan was last. That's how they have it in the indictment.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's how they just thought of their roommates. You know, that's a lot of people in one house. Maybe that's how. I'm just thinking of all the different reasons why. Maybe that's how. You know, they thought about it. Maybe that's how they found them. Maybe when they got home or came out of their traumatized state or whatever. Maybe that's the order they found them in.
Yeah, don't get me started on that traumatized.
Right. I know. It's so hard. It's so hard to understand.
It's just so quick for someone who's supposed to be grieving. You know, typically with a tattoo, you have to call ahead of time. I mean, maybe you could walk in with a tattoo this small and minimalist, but you have to plan that tattoo, you have to schedule it, and then you have to go get it. And it just feels quick. And a little bit self-obsessed. I'm not gonna lie, vain even. Look at me, attention seeking kind of. That's just how I feel, honestly. And yeah, that's judgmental. I'm judging them. I don't know. It just kind of goes along with this selfishness theme we've been experiencing. Like, listen to this statement by Dylan. My life was greatly impacted to have known these 4 beautiful people, she continued in comments reported by NBC News. My people who changed my life in so many ways and made me so happy. I wish every day that I could give them all one last hug, and tell them how much I loved them. She went on to say Mogan, her sorority sister, was the big sister she always wanted. Maddie and Kaylee were like second moms to me, Funk's letter said, adding that they changed the way I looked at life. I don't know. It doesn't feel authentic. That's what it is. That's what these tattoos feel like. That's what these statements feel like. It's all just very, very fake to me. And I don't do fake. So on that note,
what do you think? Do you think the statements were fake?
No, I think that I think those girls are really young, and I think they're involved in the sororities, and I think a lot of that speak comes from that. I think that I when I was 18 or 19 and my roommates were joining sororities, and I was like, I don't know if I want to pay for friends. My roommates were all really into it, and they did like angel things where they all wear white, like that one picture we saw of the girls where they're all wearing white stuff. That's some sorority deal. And then they have their big sister in the sorority, and that person is like really kind of like a mom, almost hopefully, because you're like I'm not going to say moron when you're 17 or 18, but you're not, skilled at a lot of things in life. And then you walk into college and you're drinking and these different situations that are all new. And that person's your big sister's kind of momly, I guess. So I could see all that. It makes sense to me. What do you think?
This is the post from Xana and Maddie's sorority.
Oh, I think the same way you're thinking, Sophie.
Yeah.
Dylan, now I'm not trying to victim shame Dylan or Bethany, even though I don't think they're victims. I think there's a lot going on with these two. Like, you have freaking Bethany, who's in Reno, Nevada, and basically living off the grid down there, who was trying to fight a subpoena to come back to Idaho to testify for Brian, because according to Ann Taylor, she has exculpatory evidence. Now, like last year, sometimes she did agree to meet with the defense team, but she wouldn't come back to Idaho to do it. They had to go down there to her, to Reno, Nevada, and do a deposition down there. But yeah, I don't know if that's been debunked or what. But and then you have Dylan, who now plays video games all day, who is quote unquote a social recluse, and she's a gamer now, and she doesn't and she comes out in the mornings to do her daily run, but according to her dad, she doesn't leave the house at all because she is suffering from tremendous survivor's guilt to the point where she has to seek therapy from the spiritual community that there in Boise.
Yeah, I think we had talked about the spiritual community thing before. I think I mean, had to be understanding of all of it. We don't know what happened, and I just think there's like I can't fathom the trauma. Let's just think of the trauma of seeing just like a murdered dead body, just one of somebody you care about.
Yeah, but that's just it, though. They didn't call 911 for 8 fucking hours.
No, I know. It's so inexcusable. It's completely inexcusable. I know. I agree.
Yeah, and when they did, it was to report a unconscious person.
Yeah, that's so weird. That's so weird.
Yeah, and the call was made from. They didn't say which surviving roommate. They didn't say which one. They said from a surviving roommate's phone, and the phone was being passed around by multiple people to 911.
Right.
So that right there, there was multiple people in that house.
Right.
Contaminated crime scene, maybe.
That part is insanity to me. The contaminating of the crime scene part is pure insanity to me. Like there's where I don't understand. What could it be? Don't we have somebody? I've not looked at chat in a few minutes. Well, do we have somebody here who the other day I made a comment about something about being in their 20s, and somebody was like, I'm in my 20s, and they made a comment. I'm so curious if it's kind of like a generational thing where, like, if I saw a dead body, I would have my phone out, call 911 like in 3 seconds, and I would probably leave the house. I'd probably wait outside for the cops. I wouldn't be in the house anymore. I wouldn't want to have any sort of anything to remotely make it seem like I knew what was going on or I had anything to do with it. I would be like, cops, just straight to that. But perhaps there's like in the 40-ish years that I've been alive, people have changed, outlooks on police and things like that. And we see those cops harassing those girls, really. And they probably do that to everyone all the time. They probably do that to all these young people all day long.
They were harassing them on a daily. And then plus, one cop taking the picture of Kaylee's ID. What was up with that? Now, see,
I feel like somebody told us that. Was somebody in chat talking about that? Did somebody say that was like a normal thing at one point, or am I just imagining that?
See, I watched the body cam of those cops who went to 1127 King Road, and they didn't. Yes, that was a little bit up the street. They did not do that with anybody over there. And they even said, now departing 1127 King Road, making our way to 1122 Queen Road. So which is it? King Road or Queen Road? Because you've heard, I've heard multiple times by multiple people. Oh, it's King Road. Oh, it's Queen Road. Oh, it's King Road. Oh, it's Queen Road. Even the cops said Queen Street.
I think if we pull up a map right there, I think like King Road meets Queen Road or something weird. And I think that's one of those neighborhoods. I'm not familiar with the street names there, but like here we have whole neighborhoods that are, and I'm sure maybe there too, like the whole neighborhoods that are named after one thing. Like maybe there's a Pond Street, you know, I don't know what other, I don't know, like what other, if it's chess pieces or like what that neighborhood's named after. I do know, oddly, that there's not that many hotels in that town, right? But I know there's one that's like King something, because it was like the main hotel to stay at up there, and it was like King something. So my guess would be that might be on King Road, or maybe that's like a main street. I don't know. I'm making just guesses. I could look at a map, I suppose, but I don't know. I don't know why they keep. It's kind of like the mincing of words that happens a lot. Maybe it's like the cilantro or whatever. Or what do you say? Sonata or whatever.
Yeah, tried to say Sonata, and then came out cilantro, and then he was like, "Oh, just a white car."
Right. Like, I'm just making it easy on you. It's a sedan.
Yeah. Like Jeff H. said in chat, interesting that the apartments are called Queen Road apartments, but all the houses next to the apartments are part of LLC King Road.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. There's probably something there. If we looked at a map, maybe there's like Bishop Street, you know. I don't know. It's probably that whole neighborhood that's probably like that, where it's like got some sort of like everything's connected, which is kind of interesting because that whole street wraps around ish right there, but dead ends at their house, right? But it goes past their house.
Yeah, and don't get me started on this damn gag order.
Yeah, pointless at this point. I mean, they're actually just making themselves look bad. If they're trying to try this case, they're making themselves not look good.
Yeah, and the whole, I watched the Enon. I did the Enon Harsh interview the other day.
Yeah.
What the fuck is up with this guy?
I know.
He's like
that's an awesome way to come at it. Yes, what is up with that guy, Robert?
He's like super sus to me. I mean, like every other word is super this, super that. I'm super this, super that, and then he goes, oh, I'm an introvert. I don't go out much, but and then he's like, I go out with my friends when they invite me, or if I get bored, I'll call them and see if they want to hang out. And then I went to bed that night at between 2:30 and 4, but I really did pay attention because I don't pay attention to stuff like that.
Right. Oh, I know.
Oh, and then he's just like, well, we all leave our doors and windows unlocked because it's a safe community.
I honestly left my doors unlocked until like a few years ago. Like this whole town, this whole state's like that. Like you probably go to people's cabins and the doors are unlocked.
Yeah, see, what was weird is, the town I'm in, back from 1974 all the way up till the 2000s, we had the serial killer called BTK.
Right, and I recall.
I remember when I was a little bitty kid. This was back in the 70s. We would leave our doors and shit unlocked, and if we went down to the store, my mom would leave the front door unlocked so we could just open it and go in. And then the BTK killing started happening, so my mom started locking the damn door.
Oh yeah, I lock my door now for sure, and I'm like 5 hours away from Moscow, but I lock my door for sure. That was enough. That was enough to scare me into reality. Don't you think that guy? Here's what I think of Enon. I think that what we see in him, only because I've seen this in public and people. I think that what we see in him is somebody who's done a lot of drugs, to be honest. Like, I think his personality, his like repetitive discussion, the way he says super and great, like just the words he uses over and over again.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you think, Sophie? I mean, he has he has had drug charges. Yes, he's also beat the crap out of his mom.
Yeah, that's so not right. It's wrong. It's like the wrongest thing anybody could possibly do. Who knows what was going on there? But what we've heard
Yeah,
from him in the interviews is that he's had adulthood of drug use and drug selling and stuff, and he's admitted it. And I mean, clearly that stuff would be like public record if we looked it up. It's probably not that hard to find, but at the same time, that normally stems from someplace, you know, like maybe his mom wasn't a great person.
You know, I mean, I love my mom to death. My mom's been gone since Valentine's Day in 2000. I love my mom to death. She wasn't a perfect mom, but she raised me the best she could. And I'm not out there acting all weird on a freaking interview, giving off creeper vibes like Enon Harsh.
True. He gives off the biggest creeper. I've thought he was a creeper since day one. Since the first time I saw whatever interview he did at the beginning, when there was like the neighbor, I think his name was Jeremy, and he was just this like sweet young kid, and they were like interviewing him, and people gave him shit. I think he had to move. And then there was Enon, who was like in there also, and I was like, "Who's this super sus restaurant guy?" Like, my parents owned a restaurant for 36 years. I'm pretty familiar. Yeah, pretty familiar with what happens in a restaurant kitchen. I could see his demeanor clearly to me as somebody who takes a lot of drugs, has used a lot of drugs. Like, I could, again, this is all me making assumptions from previous examples in my life. But at the same time, I see it's easy for him to open his lips and lies to fall out, you know?
Oh yeah, you know, like the night that he said when he was pulling in from work, he saw that really nice looking black SUV had the chrome rims, and he was wondering, you know, where is this person from? And then he said he saw some girl make a run towards the SUV and dive in the back, and I wonder if he actually told that to the damn cops, or if he was so stoned he was seeing shit.
Right. Well, he saw the future when he went back and checked his computer and saw like headlines that people had been murdered, even though it hadn't been released yet. So there's that. But like, did you ever have a chance, or did anybody ever have a chance to look back over Linda Lane and see if we actually see a black SUV, a black Suburban, a black truck, a black anything that pulls up and parks at that house? Because you would obviously see it directly from that camera. Yeah. I mean, that even a truth?
Oh, for all we know, freaking you know, like Enon Harsh said that he used to go to that house when all guys were living there.
Right. So he's familiar with the floor plan.
He's probably been in that house when the all male roommates were living there, but he never went near the house when they were all female roommates. I mean, yes, he did take a open bottle of wine and tried to give it to Kaylee. I guess Kaylee took it and said, "Oh, thanks, fucking awesome. I love wine." And
She did take the wine? She did take the wine? Oh, wow. I knew that he offered them wine. I didn't know that she did take it. That's not safe.
Yeah, and then he said he met. Now, all he could describe was a little short girl with brown hair and her tall boyfriend. And naturally, that's Santa and Ethan. He goes, "Oh yeah, they were they were really nice. They were really sweet." And the other one, and the interviewer said, "Which one, Kaylee?" Yeah, that one. She was really nice, and she was so happy I gave her a bottle of wine. And he goes, she said, "Fucking A, I'll drink this."
Yeah, classy. Yeah, I don't know, but she's not 21, right? So she was not 21 yet. So
she was 21.
there's oh, okay.
Yeah, when she
well,
21.
Weird. I never
Xana,
take a bottle of wine from someone.
Yeah, Xana and Ethan were 20. Yeah, at the time of the murders, they were 20. Kaylee and Maddie were both 21.
Well, what about this? Did you read that comment that Fallon made in the chat that says Enon is a master manipulator? If you notice how he turns off his sus personality and immediately switched to a serious personality when he started talking about taking high-tech classes at WSU. That's so true. In that video, did you notice that he kind of like his mask slips off?
Yeah, I didn't notice. I did notice that, and everyone knows him as Enon Harsh. Chef Dizzy.
That might be his kitchen name. Maybe Kate call him that in the kitchen, or maybe he wants them to. Maybe he thinks he's cool and he wants them to call him that in the kitchen.
Yeah, quite possibly that chef name at the restaurant he works at, Chef Dizzy.
But that'd be a name because he gets dizzy. Maybe he does. I think maybe you're just saying maybe he likes to drink too.
Yeah, and then he said he loves the apartment that he lives in because it's the only apartment that has vaulted ceilings, so he could do the juggling with the sticks and stuff like that. Like he's I won't live anywhere else because I need vaulted ceilings.
Right. I've seen people with those sticks, yes, at like Grateful Dead concerts. Yeah. When I watched him the first time I saw him with those sticks, I honestly thought, like, couldn't you imagine him holding a knife and doing that? That's actually what I thought. Like when I saw it, I was like, I could see him like jujitsuing a knife. Like, here's what I'm doing.
Oh, what you mean knife juggling?
No, like the way he's spinning those things and the way he's like handling his, like doing everything. I think he's quicker than we think he is my point. Like I saw him on one video, whenever, Doc Thrifty or something I was looking at a long time ago, last year sometime. And he was, it was either a photo or a video of him literally in the kitchen, in the restaurant kitchen with like a huge knife that totally had one of those things. I think I was telling you about that, the little handle that you can, a bolster that you can add to the end of a knife.
Yep.
But like he was in the kitchen chopping up stuff. And in my head, I was like, could you see this guy in like, I could see this guy in black chef jacket. Like, what chef jacket did they wear in that restaurant? What's he got back there? How much blood of meat could be on it? Is he a vegan and he doesn't work at a restaurant with meat? Or if he does work with meat, what kind of knives does he have?
I saw a guy clad in black with bushy eyebrows. I'm sorry, doesn't Enon have bushy eyebrows?
He has bushy eyebrows, and they make chef uniforms that are like a nice chef uniform where it's a black jacket, black pants, and and you probably wear a chef's like a mask when you're outside of the kitchen. I don't know. It's just interesting. All of it's interesting to me. Do I think it's definitely him? No, I don't think it's definitely anybody. I got no idea. We don't know the things, but all of this is so sus to me. I can't believe it's not sus to more people.
It's all sus to me.
Right?
It's all me. Yeah, like Enon just screams, hey, I'm sus. I'm lying. I'm a manipulator. Look at me.
Yeah. And the look at me thing is too classic of the doer, right? Where it's like, Do we think it's the boyfriend? Sure, the ex-boyfriend, they're upset and they are heartbroken and whatever. And I'd like to think that like a 20-something-year-old person is not a sociopath that like gets broken up with and wants to murder everybody, maybe, hopefully. And at the same time, you think like, the neighbors, who's the closest neighbor, who's been in this house, and then also who presents himself, who steps in front of the camera first, who shows up out of no place, like the guy in Delphi, the guy whose property that is. Didn't he look like the most sus person you've ever seen when he came out on camera?
Hey, AR, links in chat. Come on up and chat with us for a little while.
Yeah,
we want to hear what you have to say about Enon Harsh and all this like crazy stuff.
Because we were talking about him, I think, when we got cut off the other day. AR has all the info.
Yeah. But yeah, just even at my daughter's birthday party today, I kept thinking about shit. I'm like, oh my God, it's my daughter's birthday today. We're supposed to be having fun, and I just could not get this crap out of my fucking head.
Oh my God, you're like bounce house. What? Robert.
Yeah, I quite literally looked at my wife. I said, I'm too old for this, but I think I need to go into the bouncy house just to bounce this crap out of my head.
Did it work?
No, it did not work.
I like bouncy
It gave
houses.
me a headache, but no, it did not work.
Yeah. I like to go in and bounce with the kids so they can pop them all over the place.
AR, this link's for you. But yeah, you've got Enon, you've got this person, you got that person.
Yeah, I mean, who's the devil? What is this? Is the devil AR? You're not the devil.
No, he's not the devil. AR, you there?
I hope. Yeah, I hope I'm not the devil.
No, certainly not, sir.
Let me try to pair my headset real quick.
We were just talking about all the hair we've ripped out from talking about this case.
Yeah, no lie. No lie, AR. Today was my daughter's birthday. I was supposed to be having fun. Got all this freaking Idaho crap running through my head. Looked at my wife. I'm like, honey, I said, I know I'm too old, but I might have to get in the bouncy castle. She goes, why? I said, to knock this Idaho stuff out, to bounce this Idaho stuff out of my head. And she goes, do what you need to, honey.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. How was the birthday party, though? Did your daughter have fun?
Yeah, yes, she had a blast. We had a gigantic bouncy house. She was. They were supposed to deliver it at 1:00 this afternoon. They delivered it at 9:30 this morning. So my daughter got in it. Yeah, my daughter got in it at 9:30 this morning. Just started bouncing around all day long. She didn't even want to come out to blow out her damn candles on her cake.
Oh my gosh, she loved it.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely sounds like you had fun at least.
Yes, and by the time my nephews left, there was 8 screaming kids here this morning and this afternoon. By the time they left, I wanted to pull my hair out.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
So, have you heard what we've been discussing, AR?
Little bit. I obviously just kind of came in here, so let me know. Does it sound like I have any static on my side, or am I okay?
No, you sound fine.
You're okay.
Okay. I'm just bad. Like I normally I normally use a headset, and for some damn reason, the stupid thing won't work, and I don't know what's going on. So I'm not tech savvy. I apologize.
It's all right. We'll forgive you. My headphones pretty much clip out every single time I'm on here.
Yeah, it says they're connected, and then it's coming through my phone, not through my headset. So it's like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, I've been ranting about Enon Harsh, about why I can't figure out how the roommates got the initials right on their memorial tattoos, which were done 2 weeks after the murders, and it was MKXE, and and that's the same thing that's on the indictment, MKXE.
Yeah, I mean that's been kind of what I guess for some reason they keep saying the order is. So it'll be interesting to see if they could ever bring some truth of that to the table.
Yeah. And we lost Sophie. There she is.
Did she drop down?
What happened, Sophie? Sophie.
She with us?
I think her earbuds are messing up. Sophie, you there? She goes, oops.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually I was watching PS Live, and I actually thought about doing the new Steve G interview.
That's me.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty easy to sum up. I mean, if you want to play that, why don't you play that real quick? I'm going to try to get my headset to work here while you're doing that, so that I can better speak with you guys. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, who's that? Lost you again.
Sorry. Oops.
Steve Goncalves. Steve, thank you for joining me tonight, especially after putting out that really difficult statement today. In court on Wednesday, you and your wife, Christy, were visibly upset. That must have been a really tough hearing to come out of.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit used to the delays and the tactics that are being used. So we're trying to understand that we don't you don't get justice in one day. You got a process to go through.
It's hard though, right? Finding that sweet spot. This is a death penalty case. You want to get it right. You definitely don't want something to be overturned on appeal because they hurried this thing through. But from your perspective, you don't know anything. I mean, this is different because there's this gag order. Is that part of the biggest issue? Is that you're just being kept so much in the dark for so long?
Well, I understand that there's a massive amount of evidence against this guy, and I feel like the rules are changing. There was a time where an eyewitness was the best kind of evidence you could have. Nowadays, a cell phone, and a car, and surveillance. You know, that's not memory. That's actual physical proof that an individual was at the crime scene during the time. And we're getting to that point where, you got a defense that's overwhelmed with so much evidence that they're having a hard time defending it. And there's never going to be enough time for them. There's never going to be enough time for them to be prepared for the amount of evidence that they've been dropped on them. I mean, terabytes of data has been dropped on their head. The whole world responded to this case, and they all came forward. And I think they're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of evidence that they have against their client, and it could take them lifetimes to prepare for this.
Sure. Yeah. And so what usually happens, and of course, this is a road you've never tread before. You're having to learn it, and there's no guidebook. But what usually happens as you get deep into this process, especially in a death penalty case, is eventually prosecutors consider talking to families about a deal. They typically don't do a deal before they get the families, feelings and thoughts and weigh how families feel. Has there been any effort at this point for prosecutors to say, look, we could put them away tomorrow. We could end all of this. The death penalty is what's going to take this time. Has there been any inkling towards the potential of maybe striking a deal, taking death off the table for a conviction?
You know what? Idaho's still small. And when you hurt our family, when you kill our children, it still matters. And all the way to Brad Little, we've talked with people that actually have stepped up and said, "Hey, we are going to make sure that this individual is held to the highest Supreme Court level that we possibly can." So there probably is those thoughts, but nobody's around to even hear them, because they know I'm not going to listen to that. I'm not here to compromise on my daughter's name. We are going to go for the ultimate level of accountability. I mean, we're talking about people that were in their bed, and if we believe the affidavit, this individual looked at somebody and said, "I'm here to help you." If that's not cruel, if that's not disgusting, when that person could have turned around and left the crime scene, but he said, "I'm here to help you," and chased that person down, there's got to be a line that we write as society and say, no more, no more. We are going to stand our ground. In Idaho, we are standing our ground on this case, and we're going to hold this guy accountable to the highest.
I can understand it. I can understand how you feel a deal would not be an option for you. I have about 10 seconds left, but I do have to ask, has anybody even mentioned it to you?
No, I don't think that that would be a conversation that they would even try with me.
Steve, we keep meeting under these circumstances. I am hoping for the best for you and your family. You deserve justice. You deserve to have this nightmare behind you. And there's really never closure, but you deserve whatever closure you can get. Thank you for speaking tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your coverage. I really appreciate it.
My God, those girls are so beautiful. Steve Goncalves joining me live tonight. We'll continue to cover this story. Thank you for watching. Go to news.
I still want
to
who
wants to go first?
You do it.
Go for it.
I'll let you go first.
All right, I'll first, because I was like really thinking. I'm echoing. Is that me? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's you.
Is it you or me?
It's just me.
So
you guys talk, and I'll fix it. Go.
Okay, Steve is not
sure
wanting. Steve is not wanting the life sentences. He's wanting Brian dead. the ultimate accountability. Even though, like he said in that interview, or like Ashley Banfield said, if the other if the other family members, like the Mogans, the Chapins, the Knoodles, if they want him to like plead plead and then get a life sentence, basically taking the death penalty out of the situation, they would be happy. But Steve says no. We want ultimate accountability for this guy's actions. So Steve ain't budging. He wants the death penalty, and I don't think he cares what the other families want. He wants the death penalty for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I've got to say is, as a father that lost a daughter and they searched for justice, I don't have a problem with them wanting the ultimate justice. I don't have a problem with them actually pursuing the highest level of justice you possibly can. Now, with that being said, I hope that they truly feel as though they need to work the system thoroughly and properly to ensure that the correct evidence is being presented, the right person's going to trial, or if there are even more involved, if they somehow got one of the legs, which many of us don't think they actually did, but if they did, we still need to search for the ultimate justice, meaning everybody that's involved. Now, where we got to kind of take a step back and listen to what he's actually saying, it's still quite obvious he's not fully in the loop of what evidence they actually have in the case. He says they have a mountain, they've got all the evidence they need, they've got all of this. Well, that's not true because they haven't even got the CAS report back. And they don't even have a lot of the data prepared to go to trial with. The defense hasn't even got full discovery yet. So with him making comments again through the mainstream media, here we go again with everything I harp on. We're pushing to find somebody guilty without a trial. We want to just wrap this up and find and hold somebody accountable without it actually having to go before a jury, fight out. Because I believe in the back of his mind, he knows this evidence is about ready to be attacked by the defense in many of motions. We've already seen the motion for dismissal based off of misconduct on the prosecutorial side, lack of evidence, and many other things, and tried into that grand jury. It's sitting right now at the doorstep of the Supreme Court. Could very possibly be heard by the Supreme Court within the next month or two. I mean, we might get that dismissal that many of us have wanted, and that I've said numerous times. In my opinion, I think this case gets dismissed at least once. And that's going to be where they're going to have to refine tune their evidence. And there's going to be a war coming up over the IgG, over the DNA testing, because the defense is sniffing it out that they utilize that DNA and the IgG for the arrest warrant, even though the prosecution doesn't want to admit to that. The minute that is found out, that IgG, that utilization of that was used to obtain the arrest warrant, the DNA of this case is gone. They no longer will have DNA because the buccal swab was taken after the arrest. And the only way that would have been able to get got was via the arrest. You take that arrest warrant away, guess what? You no longer have an arrest, meaning the DNA is gone for good. You will no longer have DNA in this case. So now the Supreme Court's going to have to battle over the lack of, evidence issue. So we're still a long way away. And really what Steve is making the very knowledgeable for many out there is they're frustrated over the fact this case isn't moving forward as they felt like it should. But I also think he's making a point that many might not be realizing, that he's frustrated with the actual prosecution right now for not even having all of their evidence back. So, a lot of people want to say on the guilter side that they're going after stating that the defense is doing this or that. I don't think so. I think he's actually looking at the prosecution and saying, you guys haven't even got your evidence back. How are we even supposed to move forward when you are not ready for trial either? So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What would happen if they got to trial and if they didn't have enough evidence?
Well, if you get to trial and you haven't got enough evidence yet, there's a big issue there because of the fact every step of the way leading up to trial, the judge should be checking in to making sure the discoverable evidence is turned over. And there's going to be a lot of motions, like I said, that are upcoming via the defense to nullify some of the so-called evidence that they're, going to go after and attack. Before it even got to trial, the defense will file another motion again here very soon. Well, I say very soon. It'll be within the next year as this evidence starts coming back. They'll file for more dismissals of this case, and they have every right to do that. It's not just typically one time that you file, fail, and then it's over. They're going to file numerous more times, and that's why, in my opinion, through the experience I've had, at some point coming up here, whether it be relatively soon or it may be a year and a half down the road, I think we're going to have that battle of a mistrial or a dismissal. And then they'll refile charges, and then we're going to have a whole nother restart to it all. And it'll become a big mess at that point. So we'll see. We'll see, especially a capital case where the defense has already told everybody they are going to file motions to strike the death penalty off of the table as it is.
Right.
So once
they can only do that with a plea bargain, though, right?
No, they're going to file a lot of motions to get that striked, and there's a lot of things within the evidence factor that could do it. If they figure out that the evidence is lacking, or if it involves more than one person, there's a lot of ways that they can go with that. And if they, the court hears that, and the Supreme Court can make that decision as well, they can remove that death penalty off of the table. And at that point, you got to imagine if the death penalty's off the table and the families know that, now everybody's just going to say, well, let's see if we can give the plea bargain out, because what's the difference anyway? He's not going to get, a death penalty. So now let's just see if we can get a plea bargain. And that's going to show a lot right there on what the defense wants to do. Because they're obviously holding out. They're not going to agree to anything, on something that involves the death penalty, but they're also not going to agree anything, in my opinion, that states he's the only person involved either. So we'll see.
No, because if you look at it, suspect vehicle 1, if there was only one person, why would they say suspect vehicle 1? And just like just like in the beginning press conferences, we're looking for the occupants of the vehicle, not occupants.
That's right. There's been a lot of evidence that leads to more than one person being involved, even to the point right now, it seems like they have everything so locked down right now that there's got to be either another witness or they've got another co-defendant that's telling a lot of information. And a lot of people will snitch on the wrong person so that they avoid telling on the right person. They can tell on somebody else instead. We'll just see how all that plays out. Everybody within the courtroom is saying how complex this is. So there's more to it than we all know. more to it than is released. And at the end of the day, far more to it than the Goncalves family knows. I'm trying to be very respectful of them because I couldn't imagine losing a daughter and how painful that is. But they need to be very careful with how much in front of the video camera time and the literal speaking that you, because they haven't fed everybody with actual confirmed knowledge of evidence. They're just grasping at things and putting it out there, and I don't think that's not a legitimate way to find justice for your kids. So
No, and especially, I'm pretty sure. I understand that victims' families aren't under the gag order, but why is Steve and his wife the only ones speaking out? That's what I cannot understand. Why are they the only ones speaking out? You have the Mogans who are silent, you have the Chapins who are silent, and you have the Kernodles who are silent. Steve and his wife is the only ones speaking out. Now, I know Steve has said before that, don't make me be the alpha. Don't make me be the alpha. But why are Kaylee's parents the only ones speaking out as regards to this case, and no one else is?
that's a hard question. I mean, it's a very valid question, but I mean, there's two sides of that, of course, that you have to look at. Some may just be so overwhelmed in pain and not overcoming it well, in a position they wouldn't feel as though they would speak properly in regards to everything, or maybe even lose their emotional grasp on things if they did talk. Or two, yeah, like the Mogan side of the family, they both have been involved with issues with the law, and they may be kind of trying to keep their own issues out of the limelight. I mean, we already see Xana's mother, Kara, being having to deal with her issues, and then the quietness of the father and the daughter, which I can't speak for them. I don't know why they've been quiet. Ethan's family has handled it in a, I want to say they've been relatively quiet, but they have made appearances and spoken about it. So it's just really hard to explain. It's hard to think about, and you know, it
Now,
is.
do you have
And
any do you have any updates on Kara or anything like that that you would like to address, or have you still been in communication with her?
Kara, she's kind of doing her thing right now. She hasn't spoken to me in a week or two, and I know she's been struggling. Obviously, she got sentenced to the penitentiary. She's feeling it out. She's feeling her way out. I'll be posting the info on where people can write her, and the rules of mail and everything for her. But this is what happens when people do go to the penitentiary, especially for the first time. It's a little overwhelming. You got to put your big boy pants on, dig your feet into the ground, and kind of feel your way around. And hopefully, she gets back in contact with me and doesn't just blow me off and decide that, she knows better or a better path than, what
Yeah.
I can possibly help with. But at this point, I mean, it's kind of a standing point for me that we'll see what decision she makes, which I think with the counseling and the things I know she was getting started into, I think she'll be able to work her way into a better mindset and hopefully reach back out soon. So
Well, I've been praying for her, AR, and I've been praying for her and the rest of the families. I want to hear your thoughts on Enon Harsh. Yeah, I've watched the interview that he did with that one lady, and yeah, every other freaking word that came out of his mouth was screaming sus, 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 and like, oh, I went to bed at 2:30 between 2:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning. But I really didn't pay attention to the time because I don't pay attention to stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, he's a very interesting individual. Um, he had a lot of things to say very early, and I felt like he was trying to get some attention within that. But what comes across as a little more suspect is immediately leaving the area, driving the West Coast, stopping to play poker as a way to make money. I mean, he just very odd individual. I mean, it's not hard to look at him and say, man, I could see how very uh, into this you could be, considering your apartment was within a rock's throw away from the house, and you seem very odd. And there's a lot that could be said, but then the defense said that they were considering calling him, um, as a witness for the defense. So we'll see. It's odd. It's very very odd, and he's on a lot of people's radars. So
Oh yeah, and yeah, he's on my radar too because yeah, he said that that he don't want to live anywhere that doesn't have vaulted ceilings, so he can do his juggling. And he's admitted that he took an open bottle of wine over to the house, and he says he gave it to the blonde girl, and the only blonde girl that he mentioned was Kaylee by the description, and supposedly she said, "Oh yeah, I'll take it. I drink wine. Fuck yeah." And then he said he met Xana and Ethan, but he called him the short girl and the tall guy.
yeah,
And
he's just very odd, and I hope they did some sort of investigation and everything into him. You might want to drop that link one more time, Robert. Sophie's trying to get up, and I don't think the link is available for her, so you may want to do that again.
here we go.
Um,
Hey Sophie.
yeah, I mean it.
Go on, AR.
You're back.
I mean, yeah, I dropped her a fresh link in chat.
I just dropped in.
There she is.
Yep. But yeah, this whole this, and like I was watching the court case on the OnlyFans, and when the defense attorney said this is not a normal case, well, you have the Delphi case, which is not a normal case. You have the Idaho case, which is not a normal case. Seems like all cases in the district court nowadays is not a normal case.
Is there a normal
Yeah, I
case?
mean yeah, I agree. Sophie, I'd love to hear your opinion on that one.
I said, is there a normal case? Is there like a normal case that's like normally it's tax fraud, or it's like white collar things, or normally it's like drug things, and it's like the same drug thing over and over again? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
and that's where a lot of people, it was really different for me when I was going through the court system, depending on where I was at, obviously in the country, but like when I was in the Arizona, Phoenix area, literally there would be 300 people go to court each day that I would go. So it was, you had 2 minutes, get in there, get your hearing done, move along. But you would see a lot more of the lower level felony cases and stuff of that nature. Where right now, obviously, what we're focusing in on, which is all over the national news from all across the country, is the big cases and
Right.
the ones that are really catching everybody. Because obviously, for mainstream media, those are the ones that make their money too. But I do a lot of deep diving. I do a lot of stuff every day. Like I was telling Robert the other day, I study across the board, all the way across the country for 12 to 13 hours a day. I'm digging in to find odd cases, crazy cases, small cases, big cases, whatever it might be, all the way across the United States. So I'll pick 3 or 4 states and dig into all the affidavits that came out for arrest on, a weekly basis, and I'll try to research and get into which ones might be interesting. And obviously, all the great minds on right now on my channel and many channels, it's all focused on Idaho 4 or those. But I've got a lot of plans. A lot of things are coming out on a lot of other cases. But just remember when we say, and you're absolutely right. Is there ever really a normal case? No, not really, because crime is just not supposed to be normal.
Right.
It's not supposed to be something that we all accept. Like, oh yeah, I completely understand it. I get it. But it's like now we're starting to see cases where they're going to be law changing. They're going to be statute within the court changing. And this Idaho 4 is going to be a prime example of that, because you're going to have the whole IGG testing and how it's going to be applied within the court systems and accepted. That's all going to change. And then, the just what are videos going to be like, because now everything's becoming more technical, and so it's gonna change and define a lot of things. So is Delphi. We already learned how quickly a judge could be overturned if they dismiss a defense counsel of somebody going to court without the proper ways of doing it. Well, now that defense counsel is back, so we're going to see
and that's
how
a circus
these things play out.
Now, have you guys seen the body cam of Brent Kopaka in the hotel?
I did. I watched that.
Yeah. Yep.
What did you think, Robert?
Yeah, and I also I did a video that kind of tied my personal experience compared to what you saw in that. I've been through 2 standoffs with SWAT in my life.
Okay.
And none of them have ever been anywhere like that one. Like, that was the oddest thing I've ever seen. And it's like, now I try to compare from personal experience to what I saw in that, and it's a head scratcher. It really is. So I definitely recommend those that have not seen that. It's a great thing to watch. And to give you an idea, Robert, if you ever want to do a live on it, Lana with Truth and Transparency does a great breakdown that you can literally kind of hand walk through.
Should we watch it right now? I see people in chat that haven't. I said, should we watch it right now, Robert? Do you have it up? I see people in chat that haven't seen it
yet. Yeah, we can play it. I was watching Jay for Justice last night, and she has it too. She also has the SWAT report from the Pullman, the police department, about the standoff with Brent. You want me to pull that up to where you can see the actual police report from it?
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to play it for the people within your chat, I guess you have a few that have never even seen it before.
I could watch it again. I watched it and I kept thinking, like, this poor man has done some drugs recently.
Yeah. He also had some definite mental issues, but just to let you guys know, I'm going to mute myself kind of back and forth so I can eat while you guys are watching it and comment in between bites.
Do it.
Fair enough?
Absolutely. Thanks, AR.
Fair.
Yep. Hey, Barry the Rosser, it's great to see you. And Bianca, it's always great to see you. Everybody's saying hi to me in the chat. I appreciate and love all of you. So definitely appreciate you all.
Yeah, you guys are pretty fantastic.
Great people out there for sure.
Yeah. I always want to buy rid of an ad watching him. Like, what is this? These aren't the ads I get when I watch YouTube. Thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.
Always wanted to create your own online radio station? Here at Radio King, we developed a tool that allows you to easily broadcast worldwide, no technical skills required. Yes, you heard.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to close this out and
I have some body cam and a police report from June of 2022
yeah,
involving
being
Brent
silly.
Kopaka. I personally don't think this man had anything to do.
Well, I mean, it's just a really thick coincidence.
Idaho 4 murders,
Yeah,
but there are a lot of rumors. There's a lot of speculation, especially around the SWAT incident where he was shot dead. So we're going to start out crime fans seized on the Idaho killings. Their accusations derailed lives. Brent Kopaka's death was hard enough on his loved ones before strangers on the internet started branding him a murderer. The 36-year-old Purple Heart recipient was shot dead by a SWAT officer in December after an overnight standoff at his Washington State apartment.
We're out with him at room 315.
Kopaka's death. And I have some body cam and a police report from June of 2022 involving Brent Kopaka.
Here's the actual body cam. Heard okay, Sophie?
What?
Can you hear it okay?
I don't. Did she just walk and is she talking right now? Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
It does seem like it's only one. Is it only one officer? No. When she gets up there, she's talking to other officers, right?
Yeah, there's many other officers. Yeah.
Because this is.
Is this the one that? Is this the hotel or the apartment?
This is the hotel.
The hotel.
This is before he loses his life, then, right?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yes.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Police department. Police department, can you open the door? Did you call 911? Okay, I think I have the wrong number then. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, wrong room. Sierra 331. 323 is not the correct room number. Sorry, woke her up.
Gotta get the right room.
Right?
We're out with him at room 315. Can you sit down for me?
Yeah, it's it's burning floor. I don't know what it is, but
Can you take anything tonight?
no, nothing at all. Yeah, no drinking, nothing.
Sierra 331.
Can you sit on your butt for me?
Yeah, no.
What's your name?
There is no smoke
Hi, Brett.
or anything. Medics can come in and
Take some
evaluate.
deep breaths with me.
Yeah, but whatever it is, it's serious.
Okay.
I had the window open and it was
Do you need to go?
All right, yeah, just try.
Yeah.
Taking some deep.
Do you want to see the medics?
No, I think that should be okay, but what was it?
What?
What was what was that he put over
Do
the
you?
door?
I don't see anything.
This is a
Do you want
resident's
us to
house
check
in
the
there.
room?
Well,
Yeah.
they're full of whatever he put over the door.
Do you want us to check the room? Okay.
Yeah, and the bags have all the towels and stuff in there, and they've got a residue. He definitely put something on the floor.
Who's he?
Oh, that's
Well.
like somebody that's following you down the property. Where'd you go?
There wasn't anybody else.
You guys don't believe me, do you?
Is your name Brent or Brett?
Brent.
Brent? Can you tell me who he is?
So he is my ex-girlfriend's sister's brother.
Your ex-girlfriend's sister's brother. Does he have a name? Did you see him tonight?
No.
Okay.
I refuse to look out the door.
Why do you believe it's him?
Because he and his girlfriend have been trying to. He's done this more than once.
Okay.
So, he's just really upset at me.
AR, is that the beginning of a mental breakdown on Brent's part, or is that just the PTSD?
I think it's a little bit. It's a little bit of both, I think, to be honest with you, because once you start to spin, everything comes cumulative. So,
Yeah. I think he looks like he's coming off not being asleep for a few days.
that could be very possible as well.
And what do you believe that he did tonight?
I watched it, so I put a towel there, and then all of a sudden the towel started moving around. I felt it, and it was like across me, and I hit hard enough, and I smelled it. It was like chemicals, well. That didn't do much, but then he started. It was like dumping something, and I'm telling you, it was there. The floor is super sticky.
Okay.
It's hot. You can put your hand on it. It's hot.
We can go inside and look if that'd be all right with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you don't have your room key?
Yeah. I can go get it.
Where are you going?
To go get the new key.
Where is it?
In the room.
This is your room.
Yeah, I know, but I have to get a new one.
Where are you going to get that?
The front desk.
Okay.
What is he in the room?
Is he in the room?
No.
What?
Oh, that's right.
Is he in the room?
He's seeing things.
Yeah, he's a little wired up on something, in my opinion.
Yeah. He looks like he's had a little bit too much meth. A little bit too much meth there, I think. He's messed up.
You're kind of shaking and stuff.
Yeah, because that's more than a breakdown, I'll tell you that.
Look at his arm, though. His arm's all bruised.
Yeah. Well, the report said he did suffer from severe PTSD.
And those symptoms are sadly alike.
Yeah, there's a little more than that, though. I could see him coming off of a rolling moment, which probably went for days, and then now he's kind of in the dazed after effect of that, and PTSD might be playing into that. He's probably off his meds, and it's just a cumulative spinning moment here.
Yeah. See, I never knew what Brent actually looked like until I saw the body cam. So this is my first time seeing what he actually looked like. physically.
Right. Again, it's not a overly overwhelming strength of a man. You can see that he's not an overpowering individual, but with a
No.
little bit of help and a weapon, he could be. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
A little bit of meth and a
if,
weapon and help.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're coming off of a rolling moment of the the high on meth to where you get into that PTSD mix, could you come off and unglued and take people's lives? Yeah, I would definitely say so.
100%.
I would
100%.
definitely say so.
Be
Frightening.
okay.
Maybe not
And
even
we can check out the room, make sure
remember.
everything's all right. Do you feel safe?
Yeah.
Do you want to get comfy? Do you feel safe staying in here tonight?
I mean, they were here for 3 or 4 hours, trying to get me to come out of the room.
Mm-hmm. What are they saying?
They would do things like, wait for me to turn my light on, or they would go around with their cell phone and call mine to see if it would go off to listen for it.
Mm-hmm.
And they would call my phone over and over and over again. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Paranoid.
Have you had any alcohol tonight? Have you had any drugs, any narcotics, prescription medicine?
No.
Should you be taking any prescription medicine? No? Do you feel okay?
Yeah.
Besides,
Yeah, I was just started sweating over there and started to leave.
Where do you live at?
Out in Pullman.
In Pullman?
Yeah, 1455 Northeast Grandview.
What apartments are those?
The Pimlico.
Pimlico? What unit number, if you remember?
I don't remember.
Pimlico, though?
Yeah.
How long have you lived there?
6 months now.
Okay.
Shit, he can't even remember how to get in his hotel room, much less to his apartment.
Right?
Yeah.
Say again?
Was he just gonna like dodge off and like go get another room key? Is that what he
Water
thinks
when you
he's
go into the
doing?
room. You said your name's Brent.
Yeah.
Do you have a middle
Almost
initial?
supervised.
L. What's your last name?
Kopaka. K-O-P-A-C-K.
K-O-P-A-C-K.
Yep.
Kopak?
Yep.
Okay. What's your birthday?
10-4-86.
He forgot the A on the end.
Do you have a license?
Yeah, yeah. I thought for a
In
minute.
Washington,
The first time I heard this, I was like,
Washington.
"Is that his name? Is it just Kopak?"
I mean, they were up here knocking out people.
He's trying to falsify information is what he's doing.
Ah, yes, the one letter off chick.
What information does he want?
He wanted to know, he wanted to get in the room.
In your room specifically.
Mm-hmm.
What did you believe he wanted in the room?
He wanted to kill him. He's been saying it forever.
He wanted to kill you?
No, he just got out of jail for murder.
He got a what?
Out of jail for murder.
Where was that at?
I don't know what that story is.
You don't know where? How did you think he was going to kill you?
He's been telling me.
No, how did you think he was going
He
to?
was. He just said he was going to tell
Did
on
he
me.
say he had a gun?
Mm-hmm.
He did?
He
Did
did.
you see it?
Yeah, listen.
I always hear it though. Like a for murder.
Where was that at? You believe he wanted in the room?
He wanted to kill him. He's been saying it forever.
He wanted to kill you?
No, he just got out of jail for murder.
He got a what?
Out of jail for murder.
Where was that at?
I don't know what that story is.
You don't know where? How did you think he was going to kill you?
He's been telling me.
No, how did you think he was
Hear that
going
part?
to?
With the gun.
Yeah,
The gun?
he said I was
Did he
gonna.
say
He was
had a
gonna
gun?
tell on me.
He did? Did you see it? No?
I always hear it though. Like a for murder.
Where was that at?
I don't know what that story is.
You don't know where? How did you think he was going to kill you?
He's been telling me.
No, how did you think he was going
You just said it again.
with a gun? Did he say he had a gun? He did?
He was gonna
Did you
tell on
see it?
me.
No?
I always hear it though. Like in the pocket.
Okay.
I'm telling you, this
Okay, you have
guy's
the room key.
involved
You
in
wanna go
this
in? We can check it?
case. There's no doubt in my mind he's involved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Especially with that last part. He said it twice. He was going to tell on me. He was going to tell
The
on me.
remainder of
He
the
said
body
that twice.
cam is actually redacted as they go into Brent's motel room and clear everything and give him the piece.
So, did you say there's
Your
another
article from the
video of
Washington
the
Post in
actual
the
SWAT
description of this
AR?
video. If you want to read it in its
Mm-hmm.
entirety, you might find it pretty interesting. There's some content creators you might recognize that are kind of called out in that article, if you will. Moving on to the police report. We have incident number 22-W2006. The nature of the call is suspicious, and the address is 1295 Northeast North Fairway Road in Pullman, Washington, also known as the Courtyard by Marriott, room 315. They were called on 6/29 of 22 at 11:41 p.m. The caller was Brent Kopaka, date of birth 10/4/86. The address listed for his home is 1000 Southeast Latah Street, number 311 in Pullman. Page 2 is blank. Moving on to page 3, we have our narrative. On 6/29/2022, at approximately 23:41 hours, dispatch advised of a suspicious call located at 1295 Northeast North Fairway Road, the Courtyard, 315. The reporting party, Brent L. Kopaka, 10/4/86, stated a male dumped a chemical underneath his door and there was smoke, causing him not to be able to breathe or see. He believed the male was going to kill him and that the smoke was mustard gas. I arrived on scene. Officer Jovanovich and I located Brent in room 315. He was sweating profusely and shaking. He was speaking very fast and was obviously frightened by something. He said, quote, "It's burning the floor. I don't know what it is." I asked who he was in reference to the man that was bothering him. He told me it was his ex-girlfriend's sister's brother. He did not remember his name. His sentences were very hard to follow. He kept mentioning the floor was hot. I asked if he wanted us to check.
Do you think the ex-girlfriend's sister's brother could have been Brian?
You think that person exists?
The ex-girlfriend's sister's brother.
That doesn't sound like a legitimate source.
To me, it's just like we're going to start telling stories, try to get these cops off my back. But so I'm trying to think of why he would have said it the way, like ex-girlfriend, sister's brother. So the ex-girlfriend's sister would have, if it was the Kobergers, there's two sisters. So which one of them would have dated Kopaka? That would be something to dive into. Is there any proof of anybody that dated Kopaka?
Wow,
And
how old do
then,
you think his sisters are?
well, one of his sisters is a couple years older, and the other one I think is 41, then 30s, and then him at 28. But I mean, he could also have fumbled those words up to literally, the girl he's dating's or brother, his ex-girlfriend's brother, maybe. But it's like when you're high, you just start adding every other person in there.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
my mom's dad's brothers, sisters, aunts, dogs,
Right.
puppy litter that attaches to. So he probably doesn't know what he's saying. He's obviously off his meds, but he's also hooked on something. So
Yeah, it could be because that cop did say that he was sweating and he was shaking when she got there.
Now, a question, if you wanted to kind of tie this in, because we know Koberger's past was into a depressive narcotic of heroin,
Right.
whereas, some people say the sweaty, shaky feel is when you're coming down, but that's not always the truth, because there are people that literally, when they don't have their fix of the heroin, they begin getting sick. And that's why they have all, they got a lot of stuff to make them get through that. So I'm almost wondering, would there be a connection there? Do they know
100%.
each other because of that?
Their drug dealer, Enon Harsh.
Who, when he was selling heroin. Just kidding. Sorry. Go on.
No, and you know what? There would be absolutely no question in the back of my mind that Enon Harsh could hook somebody up with something because there's no
He
doubt
works at a
he has.
restaurant.
Well, and he has it. I mean, I hate to say it, he has it himself. You can see
Yeah.
he's an addict. I mean, he's
Yeah.
an addict too. So, um, God, there's just so many addicts around the whole cemetery of this case. They're all
It's
drug
true.
addicts.
It's
But
true.
anyway, I mean, here's another guy. We're watching this, and I have to just slam the brakes and say, what is law enforcement doing? They could have saved this guy's life. You
Right.
could see he desperately needs help. He needs
How can
help.
they not? How that's what I was kind of laughing at, was the fact that the cops don't see it. How do the police not see that he is in that like
This
come
is
down or whatever?
Here is another classic 100% visual display of failure of our taxpayer dollars that pay for people that are supposedly here to protect and ensure that our streets are ran, without the criminal activity. But a part of their job is to visually see this as a very problem. This guy is going to hurt himself in some way.
Right.
Anybody with common sense can see this. He's
Yes.
impaired. He's off his rocker. All you need to do at this point is send his butt to the hospital, because you could do that under a suicidal watch to find out what the problem is. And at the hospital, they'll diagnose, oh, he's off his meds, oh, he's this. He could have got the help that was necessary right here at this very moment. And this is why outside of the Idaho 4 case, we need to have the ability to have more faith within not only law enforcement, but the entirety of the system, that even our loved ones would be protected in a situation like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is sad. This is very
Yeah.
sad. And those that have lost loved ones due to addiction, here is the law enforcement's worst way of protecting your loved ones right here being displayed. You can't get any more visual than this. You
Yeah.
just can't.
Now, he looked legitimately scared, even though he went on by saying that he thought it was mustard gas that they'd let go in his room. Now I understand that he was in Afghanistan, and could he be like having flashbacks to when he was in Afghanistan with the whole mustard gas line?
Yeah, it's the PTSD.
Absolutely.
He's overwhelmed within. And guys, here's another whole situation. Let's even just take the possibility of drugs and set that aside. Is this legitimately how we're going to watch the downfall of our own troops that come back for
Right.
fighting for our country, now are sick? They have this PTSD. This is very serious stuff. And we watch our own law enforcement overlook it right here, right now. We're watching it. And in the very next instant, they're the ones that took him off this earth.
Yes.
You're telling me they don't have any type of documentation of this situation, that those people that went to the apartment that ended up taking his life, they don't have that information to know exactly what he's going through right now? We're watching it. Everybody sees this. How did the police not have this? How did they not have this information when they showed up at his door and deemed to have a warrant for his arrest? The hell with the warrant. Get this guy to the freaking hospital and save his life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. I just ranted and raved, but
No, yes, you're right. 100% correct.
totally agree
Something
with
is
you, AR.
clearly not okay with him.
Yeah. They could have took him to the hospital that night to get him checked out, to see if he was doing okay, to see if he was on his meds. And why would he leave the A off of his last name? And why?
I mean,
Yeah.
even in that situation, I'm going to tell you, because he's been around the block. I guarantee you that he's had issues with the law. I don't know if he's ever been around. I don't want to put a judgment on somebody like that, but I'm sure he's dealt with the law before. He just seems like it. And even in an impacted moment of when you're not mentally fully stable, the one thing you don't forget, because trust me, I've been drunk, I've been impaired, and I've had to deal with the law, and I still knew the fake name I was going to give. I still knew the fake social security number I was going to give, because it just becomes ingrained into what you're doing. And by him leaving that A off the end of his name, it's just obvious. He's just giving them a loophole. And maybe it's because he doesn't want them to look at his or not police records, but his medical records to find out if he's on prescription medications or what's going on with that, because they know at that point, if they call, to find out if there's anything in their database in regards to this guy's mental stability, or whether he is known within law enforcement to have had calls and he takes a prescription, they could legitimately not arrest him right there, but they put him on what's called a survival hold. It's deemed that you're a harm to yourself. It could be suicidal, or you're just dumb enough to run out and do something that could not only hurt yourself but hurt others. Take you to the hospital for evaluation. They can hold you for a certain amount of time there, and then even longer if the doctors,
I think it's like what, 96-hour hold or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And then if the doctor deems you as, a mental situation, they can extend that, because no longer would they actually be holding you at that point. They would be treating you. And they do it in a special ward, obviously. And by the time they get him back and regulated onto his meds, and they get him eating right again, and he's going to come to the realization that they're only there to help him, so then it will calm down. I mean, the initial probably couple days will be hell and back, but I'm just really saddened every time I watch this, because it. Bring in somebody. It sounds dumb. Bring in somebody that's been through the game, that's done the time, and been around individuals with these mental issues, drug issues. Someone like myself that cares enough to look right at this guy, listen to him for a couple minutes, look at the officers and say, he doesn't need to go to jail. He doesn't need anything more to go to that hospital, get back on his meds, get some food in him, and give him the chance to overcome this without you guys taking his life in some stupid standoff, or making a poor judgment call based off of what you think you know and don't know. I mean, this is sadly our taxpayer dollars that, at the worst of the worst being utilized right here. And, it happens daily. So,
yeah,
especially when
it's too much, actually.
Especially when he said, he said it twice. He was going to tell. Yeah, he was going to tell on me. He was going to tell on me. He said it twice. Who was he talking about when he said he was going to tell on me?
I just feel as though, let's just say either one of you said something to the police that you were afraid for your life, based upon something that I could come harm you based off of some reasoning, whatever the reason might be. There needs to be something there put into place. And again, I still fall back on, well, this guy's acting a little, let's take him to the hospital as even a protective. He's afraid for his life.
Yeah.
Let's get him over here out of harm's way until we could deem what the issue is. I want to know at the end of the day, at the end of this entire video, when they all separated right here, right now, and went their ways, did they ever go make any type of stop or connection to whoever he felt was threatening his life?
Yeah, didn't even
Or
respond to it. She hardly responded
or
to it.
did they just take it as something randomly coming out of his mouth that he was making up, which is a prime example of why he needs medical attention if you feel that way. So this is a double-edged sword. Did law enforcement overlook an actual safety issue that this man's life is at risk by somebody else's deemed want to harm him? Or is this a sign that his PTSD is off his meds, he needs medical help, and both could have possibly been ignored?
Absolutely.
That is
And
a
both
very
could be
good,
true.
yeah, both could be true. That's a very good possibility. Um, like no one has ever heard from these supposed roommates that he got in an argument with, and no one has seen a police report about it. And I'm wondering, possibly, if these roommates actually existed, or if they didn't. Now I've seen I've seen the body cam, but the body cam footage when the cop was walking towards his door, and you could not hear no shouting coming from his apartment. You couldn't hear no gunshots being fired at the officers. The only gunshot you heard was the snipe was the sniper round, and that was it. I can't
Yeah, I
remember
mean,
which.
from everything,
Yeah, I
yeah,
can't remember
everything
which.
I watched, there wasn't even an argument. There was very little communication back and forth that was ever on a level that you would deem a risk, and that's why I just kind of back at the end of the day, you never had to take the shot. You just didn't have to do it. You just got to wait it out. Um, I've seen standoffs like that where they literally waited it out so long that the perpetrator, the person they were trying to get to come out, fell asleep, and they rushed
Right?
in and grabbed him. I mean, you can wait these things out. I know it sucks and the timing sucks, but
Come on.
why take someone's life when literally you could just kind of wait? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. But this is the first sign of the failure right here. You're watching the very beginning of the failure right
Yeah.
here, because this could have been everything handled right here on this night that could have saved this man's life. And if you really think about it, because a lot of people feel as though this individual is involved in the Idaho 4 in some way, or at least had some information. Do you know, if we had saved this guy's life, got him back on his medications, there'd have been more answers to maybe the overall story given that
Yeah.
would make it more understandable. So,
Right. Agreed.
I don't know. It's
When
very
you
crazy.
yeah, I know. I lost my train of thought too. Now,
Earlier, when I was trying to say was and you just said something, AR, that reminded me of it was back at the house when there was still a house, and somebody heard somebody say like, "I'm here to help you." I was trying to say before I turned my phone off. I really have wondered for a long time if it's possible that's one of two perpetrators, two guys in there, one saying that to the other. Like, I'm here to help you.
Well,
I want to know what that sounds like in that house from where the person heard it and whose voice they really heard. If it sounds like Brian.
yeah, and I've listened to the people that say, well, that's Brian saying it to one of the victims, I'm here to help you, and that he takes their life, whatever. Um, I still feel like it's a second perp coming in
Yeah,
saying,
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
not handling this well enough. I mean, this is getting a little out of hand. I'm going to help you real quick. Let's get this done and get the hell out of here.
Right,
That just makes more sense to me. Like, it's
right.
a communication between people actually almost working together, I guess, rather than a communication between I'm here to help you. Why the hell would you tell someone you're stabbing people to death? You're gonna tell them you're here to help them? Like they're gonna believe
I'm here
that?
to help you. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, you got this huge knife in your hand with two of my friends' blood all over you, and you're here to help me? Yeah,
Right.
okay. Yeah, I believe that. Sure.
It's
Here, go ahead
okay.
and just lay me.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I'm here to help you.
yeah.
Right.
Let
I
me
could
lay
see that
down, and
person.
I'll
Yeah,
so
exactly.
calm down now. I just won't make any more noise because you're here to help me. Even though my
Yes.
roommates have heard nothing so far from the entire beating on the walls, falling downstairs, and 100 stab wounds upstairs. I know you're
Right.
here to help me, so I'm not going to scream now that you said that to me.
Right.
Gee,
Right.
really? Really?
Right.
Oh man.
Exactly.
I,
Exactly.
I mean, if I was a victim and you were gonna take my life and I only had a little bit of air left, I would have yelled, "Fuck you!" and just
Right.
go ahead,
Right.
kill me. You know, people in the
Yeah, I mean,
house are gonna know that I just,
yeah, I know.
yeah,
Especially with the old 8 hours of frozen shock phase. Yeah,
yeah,
and she was just standing there, and in this frozen shock phase, I saw a guy clad in black with bushy eyebrows. I'm gonna go back in my room, lock the door, and start texting all the fucking roommates.
yeah.
That's
You
not
know what
that's not
else?
the shock phase.
You know,
Right.
I don't know why I had this thought. I was waiting for the wife to get home from work last night. I'm sitting in here like a Dumbo. Just sitting in the dark. The dogs are jumping up and down, wanting to play, and I'm like, all right. But I got stuck in this thought. I'm here to help you, and it's because I was, listening to that Steve G thing over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over, and I'm like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here to help you. Could someone, let's just say Dylan was drunk, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
even a little high,
Hey.
and someone came in and saw that crime scene. It's like, Dylan, dude, like literally, we gotta get this stuff cleaned up. Like, I'm here to help you. Let's get this stuff cleaned up. And that's legitimately the person that she thought, might have been taking the lives of the people. And she actually described the person that was there to help her clean up the crime scene. I'm here to
Right.
help you. Let's
Right.
get this.
Right.
Come on, man. We got to get a move on.
I came here with the clean clothes. Give me all your bad
Right.
clothes. Go take the car I
Right. Come
left
on.
out front. I'm going out the
Let's
back.
get
I'm
this
going to my
stuff.
apartment.
Yeah.
I'm going to my apartment up the hill right here to take a shower.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Let's get this shit cleaned up. What? I'm here to help you. Let's go.
Right. Right.
No,
Right.
no. I'm too high. I'm gonna go back to my room for 8 hours. I'll see you guys soon. Whatever. It just stuff like that crosses my mind, and it's like I try, like we don't have enough facts or evidence to really piece together the puzzle. So what we have to do,
Right.
as normal we bring life experience and our thoughts together, and we try to take little parts of everything we're looking at or hearing and at least make that little part make sense. Then you
Right.
can move to another part and you expand it, you try to make that little bigger part make sense. So, I've had to separate the pre-crime to the beginning of the crime, which would be the car driving around the house, stuff like that. Then
Right.
what would be the entrance and the beginning of the actual physicality of the crime?
Right.
Then you've
Yeah.
got I want to get out of here after I got the so-called target. Now I want to find my way out of here, but instead of just going off the back deck and running away to my car, I decide to come back down the stairwell where I know
Mm-hmm.
more people live on this very floor that I haven't seen yet. So I know they probably heard what happened. So now I'm going to encounter those people, if not more, but I'm going to take that risk. Instead of going out the back and just being done with it, now all I have to worry about is the getaway. Now I'm going to freaking come downstairs and have more of a war before I
Right.
have to think my getaway. Then got to separate it, and you go to the getaway portion of everything. Then you get the cleanup and the disposable evidence, and there's so much to this that's so complex that
Right.
when you take it just, and I want to focus on, the PCA, because I feel like, okay,
Or only piece of
that's the
evidence.
one. Right. It's the one little bit that law enforcement released. I'm not talking about the totality of evidence that we've tried to piece together in other ways. I'm just saying this is all that law enforcement, before the gag order went into place, they're all that they're willing to give us. This is it. They're not willing to say anything else. This is all you have. And I look at that whole totality of the Dylan thrown under the bus mess within that. Her statement doesn't even sound like that age of a woman's statement would be,
Right.
flat and black. I mean, it's like when I heard that statement, and I'm almost 47, I think of my mother speaking in her 70s,
Right.
and it just doesn't. But maybe Dylan's old of mind, whatever it might be. Maybe she's older than that college kid's mind. I just don't see a girl that's a drunk that likes to get high, that maybe hasn't been the most educated, and here's where we're going to talk. But the whole things that she says she heard, the whimpering from somebody that sounded like they were whimpering and softly sobbing. Well, if you're getting stabbed, you're not whimpering and softly sobbing unless
Right.
the
Right.
person has already left and done stabbing you. Like,
Right.
does that make
Right.
sense? You've already been
Yeah.
wounded and injured, and now you're kind of crawling on the floor looking for help.
Right. And
You know,
yeah.
I,
Oh, Jesus, that's disgusting to think about. Actually, like she could have done something.
Yeah.
Well, take a step back real quick and remember the photos through the front of the house upstairs window. They were working in the living room area where that hallway from Ethan and Xanda's room comes into the actual living room in direct view of Dylan's room. And they had the forensics team and the full Getty up working right there. That means there was a body right there, guys. There was a body right there.
Could it have been Ethan or
They're not.
Xana?
It
Yes.
could have been either one of them. I mean, it could have been either one of them. But there was something right there, because that, you have to remember, that's the very immediate beginning stages of the investigation when they took that picture in that window. Okay, so if we're getting into the blood evidence and all of that, if they are going to stick with the actual crime scenes being in the bedrooms, you're still going to have blood in that area, but it's going to be traced blood from the weapon
Right.
or what, the clothing or whatever going out. It's not going to be your full bore spread out blood. So they're going to tape that area off and go work the main parts of the crime scene where the bodies were found first, and then work their way out of those areas, collecting the small evidence until they get to the point of minimal evidence. But if you look at right away, they are heart and soul right in that living room hall area, which is telling me, God, I really feel like there's a body right there. I really do. Right there. And I feel that body, the reason why it's right there is because they were attacked in the kitchen, where they also had the major forensic team all on camera. And that person was able to run out of that kitchen back into the home towards that living room area. And that's where they fell to the ground. They took the brunt of, their punishment right there, which, if that's the case, and this is the feeling I always had, do you realize that happened right in front of Dylan's door on a wood floor? On a wood floor. You cannot miss you cannot miss that noise. You could never miss that.
No, what about if you were underneath that wood floor?
Oh,
You would
you
hear it
hear
twice
every
as
minute
loud.
of it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's my other issue of that. Maddie's room is directly above Dylan's room on a wood floor.
Right.
You didn't hear that one? Two people up there in one little room. You didn't hear the bed hit the wall? You didn't hear the desk get moved? You don't think the chair from the desk fell off? They said nobody could get in and out of that room because it was too tightly. So he didn't hit every wall within that. I mean, come on. We know he did. Okay, if it's as bad as they say it was, and then to claim that Kaylee was up against the wall, slumped over, she had, lost her life up against that wall. You don't think she thudded against that wall, hit her head on it? Come on. I mean, I hate talking about the graphic nature.
I know. What do you think is the possibility that she was in that other bedroom? He was in there when she got home, or somebody was in there when she got home, whatever. And then do you think it's possible? This is just me because I'm crazy. He knifed to her throat, walks her across the hallway to the other girl's bedroom, and this is how he gets them not to scream at first, or
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Since they weren't in bed together. At first we thought they were in the same bed. Then once we were told that she was on the floor and not in the bed, I thought, well,
setting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was sitting up in the corner, evidently up at the very head of the bed, and I keep coming back to Murphy being locked in the second bedroom, Kaylee's room, and they say it's clearly stated they have body cam footage of when they opened the door and the dog came out. So they have body cam footage of that dog being in that second room. Kaylee would not have gone. Right. Kaylee would not have been out all night drinking, come home, taken the dog out to the bathroom, came back in, put the dog in that bedroom, and then went to sleep in Maddie's room. It doesn't work that way. She would have had that dog with her because, that's her dog. Right. And I'm sure that dog is. Yeah. And I'm sure it's either with her or with Jack or whoever it is, and so I believe she started in her room. I do believe she was in her own room, and that would be the only valid reason why the dog would be in that room.
Right.
Because if the attacker is attacking both girls in Maddie's room, and the dog is loose and running around, the attacker doesn't have the time to stop and say, "I got to go catch this damn dog and throw it in this room." He's just going to let the dog run around and hope it runs out the back door. I mean, that's the least of his concerns at that point. So that dog had to have been locked by Kaylee in the other room when she left that room to go see. And that leads me to believe if Kaylee left her room and locked the door to go see what was happening in Maddie's room, how did Dylan and maybe even Xana, Ethan, and Bethany not hear all of that? And that's how maybe Xana and Ethan get involved. But now that's a really hard tale to tell, because why wouldn't Dylan have gotten involved, who was literally right under the attack? So you tell me Xana and Ethan heard it, but Dylan didn't? And Xana and Ethan wouldn't have alerted Dylan? Hey, there's somebody in this freaking house right now. This is bad.
Right.
I don't see that. I don't see that.
Just like Dylan said that she heard someone say to the effect, "Someone's here," and then she heard what sounded like, now her room was right below Maddie's room. How could she hear? How could she hear someone on the third floor play and what sounded like Kaylee playing with Murphy if Kaylee's bedroom's not right above Dylan's? And then,
I mean, if you're trying to fit the playing with the dog into things, I mean, I could see Kaylee and Maddie playing with the dog while they're fast dialing the phone calls to Jack D. The dog
Right.
would be in the room, shuttling its feet on the floor. That's when Dylan begins to get a little irritated about the noise. Everybody kind of quiets down, heads to their rooms. It's quiet now. Yeah, what made her come out of her room the next time, or who came out of their room? Whether it be, I mean, nobody really says who it is. It's just been rumored. Who came out and yelled to shut the F up? That would mean there was some extreme noise, and you're
Yeah.
ignoring the reason for the noise. What do you think? The girls upstairs that just came back from partying and probably pretty tired, and the dog's quiet. We're all going to bed, and all of a sudden you hear some rumbling and some screaming, and you think that they're up partying all of a sudden? I don't think so. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't.
She opened her door 3 times that night. The first time to yell "shut the F up." The second time she opened her door, she heard what sounded like crying coming from Xana's room, and the male. She doesn't say if it was Ethan saying that. All she said, a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." So she shuts her door again. Third time she opens her door, then all of a sudden, mysteriously, she sees the killer, walking towards her, clad in black, bushy eyebrows.
Is she the one who heard there's somebody here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think I always go back to Enon. I'm like, Enon could have been like looking out his front window, known when they weren't home, gone over there, already been in the house when the girls got home, just to whatever the girls upstairs and whoever was helping, whatever. I don't know.
And just like Steve's made the comment over and over and over again, he did not have to go upstairs. Now, what does Steve mean by he did not have to go upstairs? Because everyone thinks that that's where the murders started at, was upstairs, and then went downstairs, and then he traveled downstairs and encountered Ethan and Xana. But that's what I don't get, is his whole comment. He didn't have to go upstairs. So was Ethan and Xana the first victim?
Yeah, coming from my background, which obviously is never this violent or any type of crime like this, but I was in and out of homes, and I've done a set of videos on what it would, for me, who I guess I would probably have more experience if this was Brian that did this. I definitely have more experience getting in and out of homes, most likely, than he does. But I would never enter on a second floor and not know what is on the second floor, people-wise.
Right.
Like, I don't enter the second floor to skip past them to go up stairwells to a third floor. I have to clear floor 2 first, because in my mind, if I'm going to come back down those stairs to leave, even if I'm successful on floor 3 and I get my target, I still have to come back down unless I decide to just go off the railing, like I said. I have to come back down those same stairs to go back out that sliding door. The only thing that could hem me up in the totality of everything of that is the 2 bedrooms on that floor. Meaning I know there's 2 more people I could possibly encounter, because I can't control how loud upstairs is going to get. There's no way of controlling that. You never know how out of hand that's going to get. What if both of their boyfriends were there?
Right.
What if they were both having threesomes? Right. What if they both had a girlfriend, and them and their girlfriends both had their boyfriends there? You can't discount that, because this was a party house. There were
Right.
typically 100 people in this house.
Right.
And, you know, slumber parties in college happen all the time. You get a little too drunk, get a little too high. What happens? All your friends stay the night. They sleep
Right,
on the
right.
floor. They, you know, you throw them down some extra blankets. You're like, all right, everybody just pass the F out. We're going to bed. Well, how's this guy, supposedly single perp, know that there's not 8 people upstairs? You don't know, so
Right.
you can't prepare for it. So why wouldn't you protect your exit before? I mean, you're legitimately, if you go up to that 3rd floor and you get into your melee and you get found out, you're boxed in.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are people not realizing you are boxed in? Your only way out is to take a jump off of a back balcony that you have never been on or planned for the height of. You don't know
Right.
whether you can make that jump or not unless you've
Onto
done it
what looks
before.
like onto what
Yeah.
looks like concrete
Right.
Okay.
behind it.
So somebody would have had to have either been up there before, knew what type of drop it was, or made the jump before. When they come scope out the house, they're like, what the hell? I'll jump off the back patio and run. No big
Yeah.
deal. But if you don't know that as a criminal like myself, and I know I'm coming back down to my exit, I am boxed in because first I could be caught in the stairwell, which is what, 3 feet wide? And at an incline if I have to go back up. So I'm going to lose my footing, especially if my feet are covered in blood. I'm going to
Right.
have no traction. Okay.
And I'm not
Or
gonna
I
leave
come
any
off
trail.
of those.
I'm
Right.
gonna
I
leave any
come
trail.
off of that step and I walk right into a potential door of a bedroom of who I don't know who's in that bedroom.
Right.
But they probably just heard everything above me. So I'm going to walk right to their doorstep and not expect anybody to be there? Come on.
Right.
None of this, the full totality of laying out how this played out. Everybody thinks, oh, they went upstairs. They unalived the 2 people. They easily came down. The other 2 were collateral damage. It was an easy walk right out the back door. Then he walked up that hill on the frozen ground and he got in his car and he sped up. Where? Wait a minute. Where are all the footprints? Where's all the blood?
Right.
Where's anything? Where's anything
Right.
that proves this? You know, but even the common sense of it is what makes me sit at night and literally try to project this in my mind in the dark. You're breaking into a house. You're doing it with the intent to take someone's life. You're doing it in the dark. And you're doing it in a house that you know legitimately minimum 6 people are in.
Yeah.
This just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up.
No.
Not
Right.
at all.
That's why I keep going back to thinking that, like, is it possible that somebody was already in the house? And that's what
And
you heard
you know
him
what?
saying. Somebody's in the house.
You mean it's kind of like
Somebody
a
would
lookout?
make
You know, kind of like a lookout on the 3rd floor, watching out the windows to see when the girls and the other roommates come back.
No, I was thinking
And,
like somebody over at what's his name's apartment being the lookout, but whoever's in that top bedroom is gonna hear when they come back because they're gonna hear the front door. They're gonna hear chatting drunk girls coming in the house. They're gonna hear whoever ready roommates come up, but you could lie in wait in one of those bedrooms upstairs.
And you know what? I've done it. God, it's not like horrible to talk about, but I've been caught in the act when I broke into somebody's house and I had no way out. So I had to dive into a closet or under a bed. Well, now I'm stuck in the house while they're home. You know, I've spent the night in someone's house, you know, waiting for them to leave the next day so that I could get out of the crime scene. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad
like movie type stuff for me.
Yeah. Well, it's like, thank God I didn't like leave enough evidence to let someone know I was actually like, they literally came home right after I got in. I hadn't even had a chance to do what I was there for. And it's like, oh shit, now what do I do? They got this
Yeah.
3-bedroom house, and I went diving under some furniture, and I was just hoping nobody come in this bedroom. Nobody come in this
Right.
bedroom. I'm
Right.
listening just to try to go home. And of course, it's like at night, they decide to come home, crack open a bottle of wine, have some pizza. It's like, dude, just go to bed. Go to bed. Seriously, I'm trying to get out of your house. I don't want to be here all night. This is horrible. But, common sense could tell you, could someone have been in that house and people started coming home and they're like, oh man, now I'm stuck? Yeah, could be very possible.
Hey, I want to play.
It's scary.
I want to play a quick 10-minute video before I wrap up this live. Is that okay with you, AR?
Yeah, do your thing, man.
Let's watch it.
It was the video we were watching earlier, Sophie, but I want to get AR's take on it.
Okay.
When it comes to Dylan and stuff.
Okay, good. Do it.
And if my wonderful mods would please put True Crown Designs link in the chat.
A haunting tribute to her slain friends. It's a tattoo of their initials with angels' wings. She posted, Maddie, Kaylee, Zana, Ethan, MKXE, love you always and forever. It's believed the matching tattoo is on the arm of the other surviving roommate, Bethany Funk.
So I need to show you guys something about these tattoos that the roommates got in honor of the victims. And I did not make this discovery myself, so I want to make sure I give credit to Kelly from the channel What's the Obsession. That's where I found this information. And I just want to give her credit because this is awesome, original content. So go check out her channel. I'll link the video in the description. And what Kelly pointed out is that the order of the charges in the criminal complaint are the order in which the crimes occurred. So count 1 is for the felony burglary. Count 2 is for murder in the first degree of Madison Mogan. Count 3, the murder of Kaylee Goncalves. Count 4, the murder of Xana Kernodle. And count 5 is the murder of Ethan Chapin. MKXE, and what do you know? That's the same order as the roommates' tattoos. And they got these tattoos in November, before any of this information was released. So what are the odds that they got that order correct? It's actually 1 in 24. So there are 24 possible combinations of 4 letters that could possibly have been rendered. And so they had a 1 in 24 shot in getting this correct, and voila, they nailed it per the criminal complaint.
What do you think about that, AR? 1 in 24. These girls had a 1 in 24 shot of getting the initials right.
And they said that date on that paperwork was the 24th of November, right?
Yes, that's when they got the tattoos. Yeah, they got. Yeah, that was the date of the indictment, and that was also the date that they got the tattoos. Was the same day as that indictment dropped. Isn't that kind of odd?
So it's 11 days after the actual crime, right? So November 13th would have been the crime. Then they got those tattoos on the 24th. The affidavit didn't actually come out till after the first of the year, after the arrest happened. So you're talking about an entire month and a half after even that. I mean, these are the people that legitimately talked with investigators the most, from what I understand, because they had numerous discussions. So
Yeah,
the entirety of the case seems to be built up of what they're saying, and maybe they felt as though that I don't know. I mean, how in the hell if you were legitimately asleep and someone like Bethany that wasn't even supposedly awake or any knowledge of anything, how would you
Wow.
know the order? How would you have got that right? I mean, it doesn't, unless that's what investigators told you. But why would the investigators tell somebody they're interrogating that? So
yeah,
that doesn't add up either. Like when you go
Right.
into an interrogation room talking with law enforcement, they don't give you the details like that because they want to get you to say the details, not them give you the details. So
yeah. And apparently they were not only interrogated by the Moscow PD detectives, they were interrogated by the FBI as well.
yeah, they were interrogated by all three levels. They had the state level interrogate them too. Now, how quickly did it switch from interrogation to just interviewing them? That's a whole nother story, because it
Yeah,
seemed like everybody got cleared really quickly. So it could have changed from an interrogation to an actual just discussion rather quickly, especially with the uh, the families that both have, and they have some prominent people with some money behind it. So
yeah,
some lawyers on Dylan's side, from what I understand. So, um, boy,
yeah, yeah. Her, I think her uncle is one of the state prosecutors in Idaho.
yeah, they have some prominence there for sure, and you know that they would have stepped in really quickly and said, "Hey, don't we're shutting this down, and
Yeah,
you're going to become a video game girl in your bedroom for a while." And who knows? I mean, who knows? But I mean, it is odd that they would have the exact order that the affidavit lists, but
yeah,
you know, who
and
took it
more
from
like
who? I mean,
yeah, and more likely not. Yeah, because I mean, like True Crime Design said, it was a 1 in 24 chance that they would get the initials right. And just so happens that they got the initials right. And that's like a 1 in 24 chance. So either they had some inside knowledge in what was in what was going on, because I mean, like you said, the actual affidavit didn't come out till didn't come out till the first of the year, and they didn't know that the affidavit wasn't coming out till the first of the year. Well, maybe they did, but the murders happened November 13th. They got those tattoos on 11 days later.
but
Why?
also realize too, Robert, that the affidavit was written based off of their wording.
Yeah, by Brett Payne.
So, right. So Dylan could have created the order, and maybe she even got the tattoo so she could remember it when she had to testify at court. She could just look at her arm and remember her story. I know that's bad comedy. I'm sorry, but you know,
It's so true,
and,
though.
It's so interestingly true.
and Jeff H, it's great to see you, and you're actually right. I mean, I know that the angel wings tattoo came, from Maddie, but man, I don't know, and maybe Jeff is right, but I still feel as though, like, the PCA is written based off of their statements and the evidence, and they
Yeah.
probably drug those two into major interviewed conversations, like, who do you think went first? Who do you think went second? Who? And then that's what they
Who did
base
you
it
hear
on.
went first?
Right. I mean, it's like, what did you hear? Because, I mean, I think it's going to be a part of that evidence that comes. It's going to be Dylan that says, I heard everything upstairs prior to hearing everything downstairs, and that's where they get upstairs happened first. So, I mean, I get the idea, and I could understand how the PCA is actually written up in their testimony. So, yeah, maybe it's not as odd as we put it together to be.
Yeah, but see, here's what's weird. In the PCA, it's normally all Dylan's accounts. I mean, you hardly ever hear from Bethany. The only thing you really hear about Bethany is the digital download of their phones, where they got the 4 a.m. timeline from. But you don't hardly hear anything from Bethany in the PCA. You hear more from Dylan than you do from Bethany.
Well, you could. There's a couple of ways to take that as well. Bethany's statement maybe didn't carry as much value evidentiary wise for the state or the city to want to use it in the PCA. And that's okay. If she deemed I was on the first floor, I didn't even hear anything till it was said and over, well, then they can't put anything into the PCA with her statement. But also on the side of that, they could have kept it redacted for future use. Maybe it carried more value than Dylan's. And they only want to use Dylan's within the PCA to keep what Bethany actually described and put in as the evidence, because maybe it is actually stronger than what Dylan had to say, and they're keeping that as firepower. Or there's a third option to all of that, and Bethany looked right at him and said, I have nothing to say. I don't want to talk to you. And they got nothing from Dylan, no matter how hard they pushed. They got nothing from her. And they couldn't charge her with anything because
because she lawyered up really quick right after that, did she not? Bethany, she's lawyered up really quick.
I believe it was day of, from what I understand. Yeah, pretty much a day of that. It was immediate, and both young ladies requested to go with their families immediately to be away, and then they were brought in, over the next short few days to get their statements and things. But I know that they probably had to come numerous times, and that's okay. I mean, that typically it takes time if you've been through something crazy like this to formulate your thoughts and get yourself comfortable enough to even want to talk with somebody. Law enforcement is not easy to talk to. Even if you're not on the wrong side of things, you still have to be prepared, because law enforcement doesn't always go in with the intent to exclude you from the crime. They go in with the intent to piece you into the crime. So you have to be careful. You have to be very careful. And I think Bethany was. I have this gut feeling Bethany was very careful. And then, Dylan was probably careful to start, and then her family urged her to come in and give statements. So there's a lot of ways to look at it, and I'm trying to be respectful because we all have our questions. We all want to piece that whole timeline together as well. We really, really do. And I think it's a big part of the case. I think that needs to be pieced together. To kind of help the proof of everything that played out in the case. It's just so hard to even you want to be respectful, but then you want to say, how the hell could you? I feel as though by not calling 911, you could have possibly let someone bleed out, because knife fights don't always take a life immediately. Sometimes it takes a while for the person to lose their life, which means pain and torture and struggling. So I'm upset about that thought. But it's just a lot. It's a lot to really dive into. It really is.
That's kind of suspicious, if not a major coincidence. But we'll get more into my opinion into this whole tattoo thing in a little bit.
The two roommates who survived the off-campus murders at the University of Idaho are speaking out for the first time. A pastor read letters from them at a memorial service for their 4 classmates who were found stabbed to death last month.
I'm going to be reading 2 different letters, one from Dylan and one from Bethany.
From Dylan Mortensen.
My life was greatly impacted to have known these 4 beautiful people. To Xana and Ethan, the 2 best friends but perfect pair together. They had this unstoppable, loving relationship.
And Bethany Funk.
Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were truly all one of a kind. They all lit up any room they walked into and were gifts to this world. I know somewhere Xana and Ethan are together, keeping each other company, watching us and telling us it's okay and that we have each other. Maddie and Kaylee, the inseparable duo. The 2 best friends that were like sisters. Maddie and Kaylee were like second moms to me.
Okay, Maddie and Kaylee were like second moms to me.
So
no, that's Beth. That's Bethany talking in the letter. Maddie and Kaylee were like second moms to me. But I mean, you heard from Dylan. My life was greatly impacted.
Yeah.
It's the whole my and I thing with Dylan.
Yeah, which is
It taught me
sickening.
a lot on how to be a responsible adult, but also how to live life happy.
So these tribute tattoos are, I'm assuming, in reference to a tattoo that Maddie has in the same exact spot. It's just this minimalist angel wings tattoo on the back of her elbow. And I couldn't find any sort of social media post that explained why she got it or, anything like that. But if I had to guess what this tattoo means, not that every tattoo has to have meaning, I have plenty, and few of them have meaning, but I have to assume there has to be some sort of connection to the sorority, because if you Google Pi Beta Phi, there's a lot of angel symbolism, right? They call themselves angels. I looked it up. It's not the official symbol or like logo of the sorority, but it's mentioned on their website as like something that is traditionally associated with Pi Beta Phi. And in their
What will happen with this AI if the government will let it happen?
pictures, there's a lot of angels references. When in these sorority pictures, there's a lot of references to this specific symbolism. And that would make sense also why Dylan and Bethany got the same tattoo, because they are also Pi Phis. So Dylan makes the post about the tattoos on November 24th, which is 11 days or a week and a half after the murders. I don't want to sound like a hater, and some of you may think I'm being overly critical. That's fine, I understand. But it's just so quick for someone who's supposed to be grieving. Typically with a tattoo, you have to call ahead of time. I mean, maybe you could walk in with the tattoo this small and minimalist, but you have to plan that tattoo, you have to schedule it, and then you have to go get it. And it just feels quick. And a little bit self-obsessed. I'm not gonna lie, vain even, look at me, attention-seeking kind of. That's just how I feel, honestly. And yeah, that's judgmental. I'm judging them. I don't know, it just kinda goes along with this selfishness theme we've been experiencing. Like, listen to this statement by Dylan. My life was greatly impacted to have known these 4 beautiful people, she continued in comments reported by NBC News. My people who changed my life in so many ways and made me so happy. I wish every day that I could give them all one last hug, and tell them how much I loved them. She went on to say Mogan, her sorority sister, was the big sister she always wanted. Maddie and Kaylee were like second moms to me, Funk's letter said, adding that they changed the way I looked at life. I don't know. It doesn't feel authentic. That's what it is. That's what these tattoos feel like. That's what these statements feel like. It's all just very, very fake to me.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with her. Yeah, it does feel very fake. Like my life, and they impact made me so happy.
What do you think the odds of that was like an attorney wrote that?
And that was just like the release statement. If she's so turning up or her family's so backed up by whatever, do you think? I mean, I highly doubt that she wrote something and handed it to this boy. I'm sure it had to be looked over first. It feels a little bit contrived for sure. Like it's just something to put down on paper, to be honest, which is kind of sad to say.
Yeah, thoughts on that, AR?
No, he had to go let the dogs out.
Oh, okay.
He's not with us. Are we wrapping up though? Did you want to wrap this tonight up?
And
Even though we
I
had so
just
much
I
to
don't
talk about
think
after this
so.
video, for sure.
On that note, this is the post from Xana and Maddie's sorority on December 2nd. The Idaho Alpha chapter members extend a heartfelt thank you to all who have supported and continue to support us during this difficult time. The love we have felt from our alumni advisory committee, Pi Phi sisters near and far, other Greek chapters, headquarters staff, family, friends, the Moscow community, the university, and the Vandal family has been received. The outpouring of love near and far is so appreciated. Pi Phi Love, the woman of Idaho Alpha.
I
Okay.
love.
So this is what they posted on the 23rd, just 10 days after. Today marks 10 days since we came to know the tragedy that has us mourning the loss of our dear Xana and Madison. Maddie was the sweetest soul who was passionate about every aspect of her life. She shared her brilliance with those around her. Like these are just non-statements. Anyone could write this about them and without knowing them at all. Xana was a magnet for positive energy and always radiated that energy back into the world. Profound. I'm sorry. They were both bright young women who had incredible futures ahead of them. We know others in our community are also hurting. We grieve with them and share the weight of their sorrow. We send our condolences to Xana's, Maddie's, Ethan's, and Kaylee's families and keep them constantly in our thoughts. And then there's the Christmas tree post, which they said, we have started a memorial angel tree to honor those that we have lost. Anyone who would like to come is welcome to add an angel to the tree, and we encourage everyone to participate. Those that we have lost. I'm sorry. The distancing language is profound here. It just feels like they want nothing to do with this tragedy. And I understand that that might not look so great and that might, tarnish your image, but there's just something that feels so fake here for such authentic souls. You can tell in their smiles and these short clips and glimpses we have into these college kids' lives. You can see how full of life they were and how, just authentic they were. And I just don't understand why there's all this inauthenticity and distancing. It feels like the university has done this. Like, you notice how they always say, like, in their off-campus home, it's their off-campus home. They didn't want the flyers hanging around town. And it just kind of feels that way. Like everyone's kind of trying to distance themselves from this tragedy unless it's to benefit in some way. So yeah, that's how I feel. It doesn't really matter what I think. I just thought I would share this video with you. Let me know what you think. Am I being overly critical, or is there something that just feels weird here with these tributes? And the only time we've heard from these two survivors is like these non-statements. They were so full of life and brightened every room they walked into, and they were like moms to me. It just self-absorbed, narcissistic. That's what I'm getting. I'm sorry I said it. That is what I'm getting. And
I totally agree with her.
Right? Right?
They were so narcissistic and fake as hell.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
non-statements.
Yeah. It's kind of like the clad in black thing, right? Like, who wrote this? Who wrote this stuff?
Yeah. Good night, Moonvale.
Night Moonvale. I keep wanting to tell the mods how amazing they are down there. Hi guys. Hi mods.
Well, you're a mod too.
I know. I'm all, hey me. No, just kidding. I know
I
Bianca's
do
doing
have
all my
wonderful.
work.
Yeah, I do have wonderful, amazing mods, and it's so good that you're here, Sifa. Hi,
Yes.
Sifa.
Waiting. So what did you think? I thought that we had a really good chat tonight. We covered a lot of angles again, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to go again live Monday night, Miss Sophie?
If you're free, what time
Yeah.
Monday should I log into this?
Uh,
I,
same time tonight, 10 o'clock.
I can do that. I'm normally free on weekdays, so that works out perfectly for me. And I'll try not to like rip my hair out thinking about all this stuff.
No.
I will talk to you later or Monday. Oh, go ahead.
As yeah, this whole freaking case. My daughter she had a blast. She had a blast today. It was kind of funny to see all my nephews wearing pink Barbie party hats.
Aw. Oh, I love it. Did you get some photos for them for their keepsakes with their pink hats on?
No, they said no photos, please.
Oh, that's all
They
right.
were
They loved it.
kind of
They loved
embarrassed.
it. Yeah, they loved it. They had a great time. It's just hats. It's fun. It's Barbie. I mean, how old is she?
She turned 9 today.
Aw. Oh my gosh, that's like the perfect Barbie birthday party age, right? 9.
Yeah.
That's so cute. I bet she's adorable.
Thank you, Micah. Micah said, "A true crime called Awesome Live, Robert. You did good."
Thanks, Micah. He did great. I agree. I liked all the things we had to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna once you stick around for a minute, Sophie, I'm gonna end this live so we can chit
All
chat
right.
a little bit.
Sound good. Night, y'all.
All right, make sure y'all's tune in Monday night, 10 o'clock. Yeah, I want to say thank you to all my mods. I love all you guys, Bianca, Sifa, Micah, KC. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. And I will see y'all's Monday night. Peace.